So if you have been posting job ads, but you still cannot find reliable cleaners, you are not alone. Literally, hiring cleaners is probably one of the things that hold cleaning business owners back the most. Okay, you guys. So in this video, what I'm planning to do is actually show you guys our step-by-step system on what we do to hire cleaners for our clients. With our accelerator program, we actually will take care of this task for you. So that way, we'll be able to get your business launched up and running while you're learning the business. I'm going to show you guys our screen. Like I'm going to show you guys our full layout, our full process, and walk you guys through everything. So that way you guys can see what your process would need to look like. Okay. So understand, you guys, that with the cleaning business and our model, okay, our model is the cleaning arbitrage model, the remote cleaning business model, the referral agency model, whichever way you want to call it. The goal is to find our ideal clients and our ideal cleaners, right? And without clients, we don't have a business. But also, guess what? Without cleaners, we don't have a business as well. So this is the part that will frustrate a lot of new business owners when they're struggling to find cleaners. But what I normally find the most common denominator is that they don't have the proper funnel system, they don't have the proper following up system, they're not asking the right questions, and they're typically not building out their list enough. Most times when I'm asking them, like, well, tell me how many people have you reached out to, is not hardly enough cleaners, potential cleaners that they're reaching out to. Understand, you guys, this part is a numbers game, right? There's really no strong way to predict the outcome. The only thing that we can really predict is how much work we put into it. Okay. So when I'm like, hey, well, tell me, how many people have you reached out to? And it's like, 4 or 5 this week. You guys, unfortunately, that's simply not enough. Okay. Understand, you guys, that the HR department in most corporations, that's one of the most expensive departments, because they even understand that, without proper employees that can run operations, that can run the sales, that can run the division, that can run all the things to make everything go, like they don't have a business. It's the same thing with our business, right? I remember back in the day when I was in a call center, oh, it was horrible. But I remember starting training. Okay. And every single time that we would go to the next phase of training, right? Whether it was like from paper and learning SOPs to like actually going on the system and practicing to actually taking practice calls, each phase, the class would get smaller and smaller and smaller. So then when we actually ended up on the floor, like it was maybe a small fraction in the portion of, uh, new employees that from the very time that the class started. Time the class started, it was full, right? But what I noticed is that even when we get onto the floor and we start officially working with the company, each quarter, my hiring staff or my hiring team that I started with gets smaller and smaller as well. But what I also notice is that as I am going through my own process and my own journey, the company still continually has new hiring classes on a quarterly, monthly basis, because they understand that hiring must be done very frequently. Don't get comfortable with, okay, I have a good cleaners, they're reliable, I can depend on them like they're my ace, right? You guys never know when a scenario or a family emergency will pop up. You never know when their kids will get sick, when their family will get sick. It's a natural disaster happens. You just never know. So you always want to make sure that you are overly prepared and have enough cleaners on staff and on deck. Okay, you guys. So I'm going to share with you guys this process. If you guys look on our screen right here, you're going to see like what our goal is. Our goal is to start with 3 cleaners. Okay. You want to make sure that you know the cleaner's location, the cleaner's pay, and you check with the cleaner's requirements. Understand that if you are operating services in a broader area, you want to make sure that your cleaners are available to provide cleaning service within 25-mile radius. If your cleaners live further out than that, they may understand that they have to come in the city or come in closer to work, but just let them know that, hey, we prefer that you live closer, so that way there's never a scenario to where like, oh, a job is too far. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So our requirements for hiring cleaners is that they must have general business insurance. We use a company called Next for our business insurance. So I just refer them to them, right? Like, hey, if you don't have it, you must be willing to get it before you start, right? So many people would be like, well, they're going to get their insurance in the next 30 days. And that's cool and dandy and all. Just understand that there is a level of risk that you are accepting the moment you allow a cleaner to start providing services on your clients' homes without having insurance. Now, we all hate insurance because it's just in case something happens, right? I haven't gotten into a car accident, fingers crossed, thank you, Jesus, in a long time, but I still pay car insurance every single month, right? So you want to make sure that they have business insurance and also that your company name is listed on their policy. You want to make sure that they have a minimum of 2 years of cleaning experience, but residential, not commercial, not Airbnb, not hotel, but residential. They must have their own supplies and equipment. You guys, stop letting your cleaners utilize the products and supplies of your client's home. Now, unless a client specifically prefers that, because there are some, kind of germaphobes where they don't want other vacuums and mops and brooms that was cleaning other people's homes to be also clean in theirs. I get that. But unless that happens, you want to make sure that the cleaner know, like, yo, don't utilize any of their services or products or equipment because that's what we promise that we're going to provide to them. And the client may not say nothing to the cleaner, but best believe the client is either going to say something directly to you or they're going to say it in a review. Okay. The next is you want to make sure they have their own transportation, y'all. Not their grandma car, not their boyfriend car, but their own transportation. Okay. Too many times, so we would hire somebody and they would be like, well, my boyfriend's going to take me or my grandma's going to take me. And then we call them because they're late to a job and they're like, oh, I'm waiting for my boyfriend to get back home to pick me up. Or I'm waiting for my grandma to get back home. She had to run to the store real quick. And then I'm like, no, no, no. I need them to have their own transportation. Now, I understand that somebody use Uber, like maybe in cities, they don't have their own cars and they use Uber. And that's fine as long as they could manage their schedule and make sure that they get to the job on time. Now, background checks, you guys, this is something that we do that gives me a little bit peace of mind. This is not a requirement. Unless your state diligently requests this, please do your due diligence to find that out for sure. This is just what we do. We use a company called Checker to be able to make sure that we're sending individuals into our client's home that we can trust that there's going to be no harm physically, mentally, emotionally, you know, assets or anything, anything of anything. Okay. Now, you guys, let's talk about this hiring flow. Okay. Now, the hiring flow, you guys, this is our process. Now, this process right here is specifically utilized for platforms like Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace, Zoom, Yelp, and Google, not necessarily the Indeed route. The Indeed route and Monster.com route, those platforms kind of have their own in house funnel already, right? You post a job ad with the requirements, what you're looking for, and individuals will apply with that, either with filling out a job application on those platforms or providing your resume. And then you would follow up and reach out, schedule an interview. So that process is a little bit more traditional, right? Where this process that I prefer is a little bit more out the box. It's a little salesy. My goal with finding cleaners this way is that I'm finding cleaners that's actually out there doing the things. So I like to go look for cleaners that's advertising their services, where they may not have the consistent clientele that we're able to bring in. Okay. So I search for cleaners on Craigslist, Indeed, Yelp, Facebook Marketplace, Facebook groups, Nextdoor groups, any and every place that you can find cleaners. Now, when you're looking for cleaners on platforms like Yelp and Bark and Thumbtack, right? I do not recommend that you contact them directly through those platforms. I recommend that you look to see what their company name is and then Google their company name and see if you can find their company listing anywhere else. So that way you can get their phone number and you can contact them that way instead of making them pay for a lead fee and assuming that it's a lead versus actually calling to hire them, right? They may not be as receptive if you were going to get in contact with them that kind of a way. Okay. Because trust, we've been in some sticky situations like that. All right. The next thing you want to do is schedule an interview. Okay. During this interview, if you prefer, you can do like a pre-call. I'm so sorry, a pre questionnaire to see if they meet those requirements that we have listed above, right? Or you can do that on the interview. So you want to schedule an interview or host an interview. And the difference between these two, schedule is really when it's by like those traditional job ad ways because they are familiar that they are applying for a job. We're hosting interview. I know it's wordplay, but that's really just for me to separate the fact that um because I understand that those cleaners didn't come look for a job, right? We're looking for a partnership. So I kind of am a little bit subliminal with my messaging to where like, hey, I would love to be able to chat with you and tell you more about what it would look like to work with us. right? Same thing. I'm asking the same questions, but if I say interview, then they may take the assumption that I'm trying to hire them and I want them to work for me. And I don't want them to have that misperception that I want them to work for me. I want them to know that we're working together. It's a partnership. Okay. I do, after they meet all the requirements, they have the interview, everything works well. Um, then we go to we collect a copy of their ID, we request a copy of their insurance, we add them onto Gusto. Gusto is our preferred booking platform. I'm going to drop a link, you guys, for those that want to utilize booking Gusto. To me, I feel like it's the best payroll platform. It's the most easiest. It's literally just drag and drop, tap the numbers and press send. We also have a really awesome promo code too. When you first use it, you'll get a $200 gift card. And it does get sent, trust and believe. We also will add them onto BK or whatever booking platform you're utilizing. So this is like our onboarding. This is what we would call onboarding, to where like, okay, they passed the initial questions, they passed their interview. Now let's go ahead and onboard them, collect their documents, and onboard them onto our platform. Okay. We will send the contract agreement. I would run a background check. And yes, I run the background checks near the end because this is something that I typically pay for. Now, because they are independent contractors, you could pay for this. You could pay this for them, but I prefer to like avoid another hurdle. Hurdle, right? Let me just pay for it. I'm going to write that off as a business expense and cool. Okay, but I do this option after I start receiving these because I don't want to do this background check up here when it's typically done, because then um if I don't get the rest of the documents that I need, and they kind of go ghost on me, then I spent that money for no reason. Now, yes, I can write it off, but I just prefer to do it at the end, because these options right here is really for me to check and test out how much they really desire to work with us, right? Because sometimes cleaners, they just don't go through the process, right? How many of us have actually applied for a job and we received a interview request but we didn't go, right? So I want to make sure that these are serious individuals that are ready, reliable to work with us, before I pay for that. Okay. After we run the background check, then we will hire them, and then we will schedule our onboarding call. To me, this is the most important phase of this process, because this is when we go over like all of our important SOPs. You guys understand that working with independent contractors and me teaching all of these is based upon the independent contractor model, the 1099 model, not the W-2 model. So working with independent contractors, we do have less control. Okay. We do have less control. We're meaning that we can't tell them what to do, where to do, how to do it. We can't make them wear a uniform. We can't tell them what products to specifically use. We can't tell them what equipment to specifically use. Like, oh, you can only use the purple Dyson. Like anything else, we're not doing. Like, we can't tell them that. Okay. You can't tell them, oh, we only use floral scents, right? So we have a little bit less control on how we can work with them. So because these are independent contracts, and I want to make sure I don't cross the gray line. And if you guys need to know the difference in how to, understand the two, I do have a full separate video that talks about those as well. But during this onboarding calls, when I go over like our high value SOPs that not only benefit us as a company, but also them. So this is when I go over like the reclaim policy. I let them know like, hey, we pay per job completion. We pay 50% of the total job amount at the time of completion when the customer is fully satisfied. If by chance the customer is not satisfied and we have to do a reclean, your pay would be on pause until the reclean is completed and the customer has mentioned that he is fully satisfied, and then we'll pay. If by chance the customer is not, then a portion of discount has to be provided to him. This will come out of your pay. If by chance the customer is completely unhappy and refuses to pay, then we can't pay you what we didn't receive. Okay. So we talk about the importance of, because of this policy, it's important that, hey, you take the before and after pictures when you arrive to the client's home. You do the walkthrough with the client, before you start cleaning. So that way, what you're planning to do. You have a plan for attack, and then you can also set proper expectations. Because if somebody's like, oh, yo, I'm gonna walk into this house and it's gonna be pearly white, it's gonna look brand new, and if they haven't had their house cleaned in 4 years, you may have to dial back some of them expectations, and we don't want them assuming that it's going to be one way when it's not. right? So those walkthroughs before and after pictures are super important. So that way we can make sure that we understand what the client wants, and we can make sure to not mitigate, manage what he wants and his expectations, and then follow through to that, right? So if he's like, yeah, I really want to get this really, really clean, and we're like, hey, we're going to do the best we can. It looks like that is a hard stain. So I'm not sure how much we're going to be able to get that out, but we're going to do the best we can, right? Like I can set that expectation already versus not saying nothing or not knowing. And then he leaves the review like, yo, they didn't clean nothing. I thought this was going to be super, super good. I thought my house was going to be super clean, and they didn't do nothing. Well, we did. We did. But do we have proof? Okay, because y'all know how it go. He say, she say. He said, she said. Right. So we have to have proof, and the only proof we have is before and after pictures. Okay. I'm collecting a signature after the cleaning services has been completed. So we go over that on the onboarding call, because that lets them know, like, hey, in order for us this process to be fully beneficial for both of us, following these set SOPs are vital for you and for us, right? So we go over that on the expectation call. Now, I really love having some kind of flow system that walks us all the way through, right? This platform right here that you guys see me using is Notions. This is our client portal, an example of our client portal when we are hiring for our cleaners. And this literally just walks you all the way through. So you guys create something like this so that way you can manage your hiring process. Because even when cleaners are not responding back, or they didn't follow up, it doesn't mean that they're not interested. They just may be busy. You know how many unanswered text messages I have, unfortunately? Like, ugh. But I still want to follow up with them. Okay, so you want to make sure that you have an ongoing list, because, like I mentioned in the beginning, hiring is going to be something that you're going to continually always be doing. Always, never stop. Every single week, you want some sort of hiring practice. Okay. And I talk with so many new cleaning business owners, and they struggle so much with the hiring process. Just the fear of, reaching out, the fear of not saying perfect, the fear of them saying no. It's just fear. No matter how you dress it up, it's fear. Last week we had a student that shared her fears of hiring, and I was so glad when I saw a message pop up a couple of days later. She's like, "Yo, Jazz, I actually reached out to people. I'm kind of nervous, but one responded, and I have an interview tomorrow." And I'm like, "Yo, that's so dope! Like, congratulations, right?" And then a couple of days later, she's like, "Yo, Jazz, I just hired 3 cleaners. Like, this is crazy." I'm like, I know. Like, I tell you guys all the time, like, don't allow fear to hold you back. Like, right? Like, don't allow it to conquer you, conquer it. Right. So I was just so excited, because I always share that, yo, it's so doable. I didn't say it was going to be easy. It, if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, but it's doable. And the moment you find that you're able to set and do set thing, then, like, oh, I got this. Right. So, this is the service that we do provide for our clients, because it is a longer process, right? So this helps them to get started at a quicker, sooner pace. But at the end of the day, you guys, hiring has to be done on a continual basis. You want to make sure that you collect everything. You don't miss anything. Don't miss anything. You have every single contract signed, sealed, okay? That you received all documents, okay? You put the hiring date, you put their years of experience, did they pass a background check? And typically for the background check, all we're looking for is that there was no like bodily harm, or no theft, robbery, kidnap, just stuff like that. Crazy stuff, okay? Um, but yes, we want to make sure that they have their insurance. And you guys, in the insurance thing, this is super crazy. Somebody messaged me the other day and was like, they found a company that would create them a certificate of insurance, but like they really don't have insurance. So, like, yo, that's kind of creepy. So now I'm like, we may have to start calling these companies to verify that. That's the first time I've ever heard of that, but just a little FYI, put that tip in your back pocket. Pull it back out if you think you need it. All right. But you guys, this hiring process is something that you will either create on your own, or you'll, utilize this system right here, and then you can change it up as time goes by. But at the end of the day, you guys, hiring has to be done. Okay. If you need help with hiring, if you need help with any aspect of building your business, there's so many ways that we can help you guys. There's so many different ways that we can work with you, right? Either get in one of our workshops. We have our upcoming workshop May 29th. Going to be amazing, right? The link is going to be in the description. Join that workshop, okay? Join the VIP. If you have some real questions to ask, some follow-up question, you want to have a live VIP experience, do that, right? So that way you guys are able to get the adequate help that you need. All right, you guys. So I hope this video was beneficial for you guys. I really want to get into some more screen sharing YouTube videos coming up soon, because I really don't do these on YouTube. I do these a lot with our coaching calls, but not really for YouTube. So I'm like, yo, let's try this out and see how it works. So let me know, you guys, what other processes or screens or platforms or anything that I can also walk through and show you guys on a screen share. Okay. And if you like it, let me know you liked it. If you didn't, you're like, yeah, Jazz, I ain't with that. Like, do it how you do it. I'm cool with that too. I love good feedback. All right, you guys. So until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye, y'all.